Welcome back to the Pioneers Sideline. Stooges aren't the only things that come in threes here, as we're going to bring you the Pioneers Sideline crew, the three of us, giving you baseball and softball road ahead. We're going to start baseball here with Phil Novotzik. Let's take a look first at what the Pioneers do have upcoming on their schedule, as now you're going to see it's not so much at home anymore. You're going to see a lot of those little @ signs. That's the Shift 2 key on your keyboard there. The Pioneers have a lot of that upcoming on their schedule. They have one more home game versus West Virginia Tech, but then you see at Clarion, at Wheeling Jesuit, at Pitt Greensburg, all out of conference there, Phil. But it's all on the road, and then right after that, they jump right into tournaments. You got the KIAC tournament, the NAIA opening round, and then the World Series. So really, Phil, this is a home stretch already for the baseball season, and it feels like it just started.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great move by Coach Torres, though, just to get them used to playing on different fields again before that KIAC tournament. Get those 3 tune-up games before the tournament begins, and so that they're more ready once they start going to play on the road and have those tough road battles.
Now, Phil, this is a team, they were on the road for much of the beginning of the season, but in the last couple weeks, they really haven't seen home too much, and now they already have to go right back on the road again. Really, the test of the road warriors. I mean, they just got to keep it going.
Oh, it's been a theme all season long, like you said. We saw at the beginning of the year, they played their first 24 games on the road. They had some home games canceled this season because of the weather. So it's definitely been a season that's been spent a lot on that bus, but this is a team that's ready for that tournament.
But you look at some of these away games, though. Wheeling Jesuit, only in Wheeling, West Virginia. Pitt Greensburg, only in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Instead of going down to Kentucky, 8-10-hour drives, for once, these drives, they're not going to be too bad for them. Only maybe 2-3 hours at the most.
Yeah, it's not a bad drive at all, especially once you get used to those 6 to 8 hour drives, Chris. The 2 to 3 hour drives seem like a walk in the park, so it's not going to affect their performance at all. I see them winning these last 4 games of the regular season and getting on the right track going into the playoffs.
Now this team, Phil, the KIAC tournament's coming right around the corner for them. They won the regular season title. Once again, we mentioned a little bit earlier, first season in the KIAC, they win the regular season title. How much momentum does that really carry for them moving into the tournament only a couple weeks away?
Oh, it's definitely big for them. Like we said earlier, Chris, just sending a message to the rest of the conference. You know, Point Park is going to come in with a target on their back, and they will be the team to beat. Don't count on this Indiana Southeast team. The KIAC does not get credit for being a very good baseball conference, but I watched this Indiana Southeast team play all 4 games this weekend. They have some great pitching and some really solid hitting and base running skills as well.
Now, you see here the KIAC not really being a heavily known conference for baseball. Pioneers fell out of that top 25. How important is it for them to really go to that KIAC tournament and take care of business? Because if they don't win this, they're looking at a real tough chance, maybe only an at-large bid to get into the World Series.
Yeah, and especially after splitting this weekend series, I think if they had kept their winning streak going, they may have had a chance to get back in that top 25, but going 2-2 over the weekend, I just don't see it happening. Once you get voted out of that top 25 in the nation, it's very tough to climb your way back in. So the Pioneers have to be thinking all or nothing here coming up to the conference tournament.
All right, real quick before we finish up baseball road ahead, Phil, what do you see the Pioneers doing this week? Give us a quick prediction on record, and then how do they do in the KIAC tournament?
I see them going 4-0 this week. I think they get a clean sweep here heading into the tournament. I think they stay hot throughout the tournament, maybe lose 1 game to Indiana Southeast, but it's a double elimination tournament. I think in that final elimination game with their backs up against the wall, the Pioneers pull it off and head back to the Regional World Series.
That's going to do it for our baseball road ahead. Now we're going to take a look at the softball side here. I told you, Kyle Anthony wasn't going anywhere. He's right here in TV magic. Kyle Anthony reappears there. So now we're going to move into the softball road ahead. Kyle, we're going to take a look here at the softball road ahead, see what opponents the Pioneers are bringing to the table. And you see, just like that, they played Carlo last week, Kyle. They're playing them again. Then they have Asbury Midway at home, at Edinboro, and then Salem International at home. So the road games really aren't too much of road games. Edinboro, right here in the neck of the woods in Pennsylvania. Carlo, 10-15 minutes away. So really, not really stretching their legs going down to Kentucky again. So how big is it for them to really be playing just in the state of Pennsylvania and not, like we said with baseball, they don't have to take the 8-hour bus ride down to Kentucky again?
It's good because it helps cut down on travel, cuts down on wear and tear, and you don't have to leave as early. I mean, you can get into a rhythm. I mean, it's a lot better going for home games. Helps build your confidence. You have some fans. So, I mean, it's just good all around.
Now, you look at it, their first game of this week is against the Carlo Celtics. So they just went against last week, defeating the doubleheader. Cal, how big is it for the Pioneers to come out and stay with that same mentality? Because both those games were close against the Carlo Celtics. And you know they're looking for revenge, especially with them playing on their home field this week.
It's definitely big because Carlo's a tough team, and it's a crosstown rival, but also it helps them in the KIC, helps their standings. So they definitely need to come and take this game seriously, because if they don't, they could end up dropping their games.
And you mentioned they're playing in KIAC play. Unlike the baseball team, they don't have too many out-of-conference games. They have Salmon National and Edinburgh. But up until then, they have Midway and Asbury again. How big is it for them to take care of business, Kyle? Because really, they put themselves in a good position in the KIAC. They're one of the top 5 teams in the conference, playing very solid softball. But they definitely they don't want to fall out of it. They need to make sure they stay with their head on a swivel, because they're sitting high and tight now. But if they don't take care of business this week, they could be looking up at everyone else in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big game. It starts with Carlo because you want to move up in the standings and keep some momentum and show teams, kind of make a statement and say, we can beat whoever we play in this conference. And if we lose, we can lose a close game. So these games are really big for this team.
And then their KIAC tournament is right around the corner. Their first year in this conference as well, making themselves well known. How big is it for them to really take care of business in that tournament and try to get themselves to the NAIA World Series for softball there, Kyle?
It's a big thing for this team because this team's been a consistent 20-win team each year, so they definitely have to come out and show they can play.
Now we got a baseball prediction. Let's get a quick softball prediction. How do you see them doing for basically the remainder of the season? Because they have a few more games after this week, but then let's take a look at how they'll do this week, and then give you a prediction for the KIAC tournament.
I think they should be able to win all the games but the Edinburgh games. I think those will be tough games moving up and playing. In the KIC tournament, I think they'll do well, but I don't think they'll win the championship just because of the inconsistency with bats showing up one game and pitching show up another.
That's going to do it for our road ahead of baseball and softball. Mo, Larry, and Curly giving you the analysis here on the Pioneer side. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Kelsey Metzger, Brittany Lawfer, and Tim Hardy addressing the Steelers' draft needs. Don't go anywhere. It's the Pioneer Sideline.